Bitcoin is just a speculative bubble. Eventually it will burst. Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Basics for skeptics or beginners. My name is Nikolai and today we will talk about this objection because I hear it a lot. I don't know if you have before, but this term bubble definitely is floating around a lot. So let's look at it. How do people get to the point of saying Bitcoin is a speculative bubble? Eventually it will burst. Well, they look at the price rise of Bitcoin and they see it has risen like crazy in the last couple of years, like thousands of %. And then they compare such a price rise historically to other price rises like that. And they see, oh, there has been like the .com price rise or the tulip price rise. And that looks really similar. So, because we know from hindsight that the tulip bubble was a bubble and the .com bubble was a bubble, Bitcoin by definition has to be a bubble because it looks the same from a graph point of view, from a data point of view, if you just look at the price rise. If people say that, I would first of all try to shift the discussion from looking at a graph and how the price changed over the last couple of years, and I would shift the discussion towards talking about what actually makes a bubble a bubble. And that's really easy because we just have to think about the word bubble. What is a bubble? It's something round that floats around and it is fundamentally empty. A bubble bursts in the first instance that it hits something with substance. As soon as it hits something that is in its way, it bursts because it has no fundamental substance to it. So I would ask, is Bitcoin empty inside? Is the idea of Bitcoin, is the code of Bitcoin, is Bitcoin as a digital currency just a suggestion, but if you dig deeper, you find out there's nothing behind it? And if you pose the question like that, people start thinking, if Bitcoin is empty, like other things, and therefore is a bubble, and I would argue they find out, by your help, that Bitcoin actually is not empty inside. It has substance to it. It solves a problem. What kind of problem does it solve? Well, it solves many problems at the same time. That's why I think it is very, has a great potential. But one of the main problems it solves, it is a digital medium of exchange, and it is an inflation-resistant store of value. And all of this is decentralized. So it's not easily hackable or changeable because it is spread around the world through thousands and thousands of nodes in many different countries. So I would actually say if you dig deeper, it doesn't really have to go into all the details right now when you talk about that question. But I would first of all start thinking about what makes a bubble, and it's basically that it's just an empty claim. It's an empty promise, but there's nothing behind it. And that is exactly not the case with Bitcoin. Then the second part of the question or the objection is that it is speculative. It's a speculative bubble. And I would agree to a certain degree. Yes, that's totally normal when a good monetizes that there is a speculative element to it. And that's why we see a lot of volatility, and that's why the price goes up and down, and that will keep on going for a couple of years. But that doesn't mean it's a bubble. It just means that a lot of people hop on and off that haven't really understood the fundamentals yet. And so they start selling and then they start buying again because they don't really get what it's about. But there is a growing majority of people who actually understand the value proposition of Bitcoin, and therefore they are going to want to hold on to their Bitcoins. They're going to be hodlers. They will not sell all of their Bitcoins. And therefore, I think because of that majority of people is growing in understanding in what makes Bitcoin valuable, I think actually the speculative element will over time become less, and the volatility therefore will decrease. If Bitcoin will eventually burst, no one knows. But if it bursts, it doesn't burst like other bubbles because there was no substance behind it. It will burst for other reasons. And these other reasons I would be very interested to know because I haven't found out yet. But I'm very convinced that the pure statement Bitcoin is a speculative bubble is really easy to answer because you just have to shift the discussion of, okay, is Bitcoin like a bubble empty inside, or is there a real problem that Bitcoin solves? This is the objection number 2, and I hope Bitcoin for Skeptics, if you're a skeptic, this helped you a little bit. Usually skeptics are not convinced by one video, not by 2 videos. That was the same case for me. But maybe slowly, step by step, you begin to start a thought process that helps you understand what Bitcoin is really about. All right, have a good day.